Dear listeners, thank you for your incredible support in helping our channel grow. We're aiming for 1,000 subscribers, so please support us by subscribing and helping us reach this milestone. Now let's start the story. Flashback, Major M, joint meeting. What a hell of a week I'd gone through. Nothing like getting hauled before the boneheads each day and grilled, but now they brought in the big guns for some serious butt chewing. I should have known better. Sergeant Blaine got pissed off, went on a rampage, and I was catching the hell for it. I had sent messages each evening telling him to stop it, and he just replied, "Bite me," and kept doing what he was doing. It wasn't bad until the general started hearing about it. Then I needed to do something, so I came up with a hell of a plan and lied my butt off. Now we're before the joint committee and they are ready to give me hell, but I'm not going to let that happen. Bonehead 1 asks, Major, while one of the sites your team was sent to observe being totally destroyed might be appropriate to be called accidental, would you care to explain why every site they have been directed to observe has been destroyed? Now OPFOR troops are on alert and are being sent to the area where your team is located. The general, who thank God totally bought my lie, interrupted, Excuse me, but this man is under my command, and if there's any but chewing to be done on him, I will do it. Now listen while I tell you about the brilliant plan we developed. I kept my fingers crossed and hoped they would believe the lie, because if they didn't buy into it, well, my career was over. It was over almost as quickly as it started. They bought it hook, line, and sinker, and we were, as one of them described, brilliant military strategists. What really described my situation was that I was lucky as hell and a damn good liar. As we were leaving, the general praised me. That was one hell of an idea, having your team start destroying the sites and then leaking the information that it was a Mossad operation. The country totally bought it and sent a large contingent of their forces to find all these Mossad teams, which left large gaps in their other defenses. I waited, and he continued, However, next time I don't want you going out on a limb like this. You need to bring me in from the very start. I again lied and replied, Sir, I will certainly do that. Now to get back and try to keep Sergeant Blaine from continuing to screw things up. Easier said than done. I couldn't force him to do anything, so I needed some reward which would get his attention. Then I came up with the perfect idea, and I would of course have to follow through with this promise. Otherwise he might pull a Mr. Smith on me. Flashback, Jack, undisclosed location. I took some pictures and watched as smoke and stars rose out of the newly destroyed weapons bunker, which now resembled a 4th of July celebration. Ben looked over at me and grinned. Damn, Jack, that was the best explosion yet. I replied, Yeah, that was a good one. Look at all the white phosphor rounds going off. So what's next on the list? He grinned and said, It looks like there's some sort of underground hangar we need to destroy. I smiled and misquoted, I love the smell of burning jets in the morning. We jumped up and headed back towards the vehicle we'd commandeered. I laughed and thought how this whole interesting week started. Ben got majorly pissed off at that new Fragos the Major sent, and we'd been running amok ever since, destroying all the targets in the process. You see, since we were the only team left, the scumsuckers gave us targets of interest spread out across this whole desert. How in the hell they expected us to recon targets that far apart and remain undiscovered was beyond idiotic. So Ben decided to screw the stealth part of the mission and just take out the damn targets. While initially it sounded like a good idea, now I wasn't so sure because Ben was out of control and having way too much fun. We commandeered a vehicle, drove close to the site, observed the facilities, discovered its weaknesses, then slipped in and blew the scumsuckers to hell. Yeah, this was much better than all the sneaking around bullshit. But it sure attracted a hell of a lot of attention, and the missions were getting dicier all the time. Ben would send in the nightly reports, including pictures of the smoking ruins, just to piss off the Major, and it worked perfectly. The Major was majorly pissed and kept ordering Ben to stop, but we were having too much fun and kept sending our replies to bite me. I belted myself in and prayed. Ben took off driving like a bat out of hell. He was one out of control mother in this damn Russian Jeep and thought all of this goat herder country was his private rally track. I held on for dear life again and asked, So just how long do you think we can keep this up? He laughed and said, Either until we run out of targets, get caught, or the Major comes through with what I really want. I grimaced when the Lion of Babylon or Assad Babil was an Iraqi-built version of the Soviet T-72 main battle tank. Tanks came out of hiding and started after us because I knew what was coming next. Ben hooped, Damn, now it's time to have some real fun. Jack manned the machine gun. I countered, Only if you promise to keep the wheels on the ground this time. Last time you almost threw me out. He laughed, Stop being a grumpy old fart and get on the gun before one of their gunners gets lucky and hits us. He had a point since the tanks did have the top hatch of the turret open with gunners manning each one. I yelled, Okay, but if you don't slow down some I won't be able to hit anything. He yelled, I don't care about you hitting them. I just don't want them hitting us. I climbed into the top hatch, racked the action on the machine gun, and started shooting at the tanks. I got lucky as hell and nailed one of the scumsuckers that was shooting at us. The rest were like prairie dogs and dashed back into their holes. Ben yelled, "Good shooting, Tex. Now it's my turn." Ben spun the wheel, circled the tanks, rolled down his window, and started firing at them with his pistol. Yeah, his version of cowboy and Indians. I knew what he wanted next, so I prepared myself, and as we drove close to the side of one tank, I pulled out a charge and chucked it into the treads. It detonated and blew the tread off the tank. It made me feel like I was on the old TV show Rat Patrol. Ben finally yelled, "Jack, get your butt back down here, so we can get the hell out of Dodge." That was music to my ears, so I climbed back into my seat, belted in, and held on for dear life. As we took off across the desert, we outran the tanks again. I had just settled down and thought about a snooze when we hit a big bump again, caught air again, and Ben hollered, "Damn, that was fun. I think I will go back and do it again. Only this time, even faster." He spun the wheel so hard I swear we went up on two wheels as we looped back around, and this time he really punched it. The Jeep caught air, and I felt like I was a stunt passenger from one of the Dukes of Hazzard jump scenes. I braced for the impact, but the damn Jeep came down much more softly than I imagined. I still grimaced and continued my question about the Major from earlier. "Do you think the Major really knows what we want?" Ben dodged a ravine. Thank God he didn't try to jump it like some we encountered earlier, and answered, "Hell yes, he knows what we want. He's just being a typical officer." Yeah, I liked Major M, but he was still an officer. Flashback, Ben, undisclosed location. I enjoyed the scout part of our missions, especially when it was against a worthy adversary. The RG were good but not really good enough, so I had become bored. It was much more fun taking out the targets and then sending the results to the Major. I was sure he was catching hell about it. This should teach him. Screw with us and pay the price. But he was okay for an officer. Much better than working for Mr. Smith, so I didn't want to go all Mr. Smith on him. At least not yet. What I really wanted was to get the hell out of here and go to Russia. It didn't help that on our first destroy mission, we snagged this Russian-made GAZ 2975 Jeep, which was loaded with RPGs. This thing was built like a tank, got great fuel mileage, and was fun as hell to drive. So every time we relocated, this GAZ reminded me of Russia and made me more determined to get the Major's attention. And it sure beat humping it from site to site. Shit, if we had walked, it would have taken us at least a week between sites. We did have to be sort of careful though, because these goat herders did have an air force. But we had liberated a bunch of SA-18 Igla. The 9K-38 Igla is a Russian-Soviet man-portable infrared homing surface-to-air missile. Manpads, man-portable air defense systems, which were effective as hell against the fighters once we disabled the friend or foe circuitry. Plus, this GAZ was fast as hell, or at least fast enough to outrun the old Soviet-style tanks they sent after us. I saw a ravine, steered the GAZ into it, let it slide down the bank, drove it over into some scrub brush, and turned off the engine. Jack asked, "What's going on?" Flashback, Jack, undisclosed location. I about crapped my pants as Ben headed right towards a ravine. I knew we couldn't jump it, and then at the last possible moment, he slammed on the brakes. Thank God I was belted in, or I would have kissed the windshield, and side-slipped the Jeep into the ravine. It still felt like it was going to tip over at any moment. Thank God it didn't. He pulled into some brush and shut off the engine. I asked, "What's going on?" He had a faraway look on his face, was all serious, and said, "Jack, something doesn't feel right." Shit. I'd learned when Ben had a feeling it usually wasn't a good thing. I questioned, "Can you be more specific?" He answered, "Not really. There's a cave over there. Let's cover the GAZ with the camo net and wait." I reminded him, "What about our tracks?" He replied, "The wind is already covering them." I continued, "And what about our gear?" He answered, "We won't need it." Damn, I hated it when he got all mystical like this, but I knew better than to ignore one of his feelings. We covered the Jeep. Ben climbed out of the ravine, looked, and I guess liked what he saw, since he then came back down and said, "Let's head to the cave. I need to send our report to the Major." He set up, sent the report, got the Fragos, and complained, "That son of a bitch." I questioned, "Bad news?" Ben answered, "Yeah, instead of being upset, the Major told us what a good job we're doing. Keep up the good work and send a crapload more targets of interest." This sounded screwed up, so I questioned, "Well, what do you want to do?" Ben grinned at me and said, "I want to eat some chow, and then we wait." Flashback, Major M, Command and Control. Damn it. It had been 2 days since I heard anything from my SGTS, and satellite imaging had shown their last known area, and next 3 targets crawled with RG troops. Of course, the boneheads wanted to know why we hadn't destroyed any more targets. I lied my butt off again. It seemed like every time I dealt with the SGTS, I was forced to do that, and told them they had lost their vehicle and were in the process of acquiring another one. With all the activity going on in the area, I was pretty sure they hadn't been captured. But why the hell did they stop? My phone rang. I picked it up, and it's the general, and now he wanted a meeting. Shit. Flashback, Jack, undisclosed location. Well, Ben ate more food than I thought one person could eat, then crawled over in the corner and fell asleep. Then he only woke up to drink water and piss. He didn't wake up when the jets flew over. He didn't wake up when the choppers came over, and he didn't even wake up when the tanks and patrols tore the hell out of the area. He had done this once before. I hated it then, and I hated it even more now. I was a nervous wreck because I figured any minute we would be captured, but he just slept through it all. On the second day, things quieted down, so I finally caught some much-needed shut-eye. I woke up and took a piss in the piss corner and noticed Ben was gone. I wasn't worried. Besides, there was nothing I could do about it. So I fell back to sleep. I'd just gotten to sleep, had a hell of a dream about Mira when Ben rousted me. Jack, it's time to go. I glared at him through one open eye and said, thanks for nothing. I was having a great dream. He was insistent. Jack, we need to leave now. I looked at my watch and said, you do know it's nighttime. He said, yeah, that's why it's the perfect time to leave. I grumbled to myself, got up, headed out to the Jeep, and Ben took off like it was my grandmother driving. We had been driving for about 30 minutes when the whole sky lit up behind us. I questioned, what the hell was that? Ben laughed. That was a new message for the Major. Flashback, Major M, Command and Control. The General was easy enough to handle. He was just concerned we'd lost the team, and I assured him we hadn't. However, I wasn't sure how I was going to explain this new development to him, and even worse to the boneheads. My tech asked, sir, would you like to see the real-time satellite video again? Then the scumsucker chuckled. I shook my head in frustration. Yeah, let's see it one more time. I watched in disbelief as the desert, to be more precise, a RG division was destroyed in the middle of the night. Oh, the General and the boneheads would be thrilled with the loss of the troops. But how the hell could I explain that the explosions and subsequent fires spelled screw you? Damn it all anyway. I prepared the simple Frago that I knew would get the SGTS attention and ordered, make sure the Frago gets sent when they check in. Flashback, Mira and Ira. We traversed the snowy forests extraneous to Moscow in a troika. I hugged my Sergeant Blaine's arm with great gusto. Yes, my Lance Corporal had become a sergeant. Then he came and rescued me from the evil clutches of the beast. And now we were being conveyed to our nest of love. I promised to reward his bravery with my body when we arrived. The sun glimmered through the trees, and I was radiant in my white Siberian fox coat and Ushanka. My sergeant said in our special language, Mira, awaken your corporeal self. I opened my ocular units and blinked at the harsh sunlight. Unfortunately, I had been immersed in a dream, and the harsh reality of the voice was that of my sister Ira. I questioned, Ira, what has happened? Ira responded, Mira, we have been duped and made to look inconsequential. These harlequins attacked the presidential palace and not the anticipated underground aircraft storage facility. However, they might have performed a miscalculation because they are currently being vociferously pursued by numerous militancies. The president happened to occupy a nearby area and demanded additional protection for his corporeal self. It seemed some group of miscreants had infiltrated this country, masqueraded as the Mossad, and perpetrated massive damage. Now this country was katana rattling toward Israel. Our benefactor in Israel requested we might be of assistance to remedy this problem before war was declared. He had performed a great service to us by letting us stay with him without any of the training requirements of the beast, so we were joy over to perform this trivial task. However, the task occasioned to be not as trivial as we first surmised because the buffoons changed tactics and did not attack the next logical target. I jumped up and stated, the presidential palace is not far from our location. Ira continued, yes, if we aggressively motor we might watch their demise. I finished, or if the RG fails we would be in position to strike and alleviate the situation. We crept down the reverse side of the dune, regained our motorcycles, and traversed the desert post-haste towards the Harlequins. Flashback, Major M, Command and Control. I tapped my fingers on the table and looked at the newest intel. Shit, if my SGTS had waited a few more hours, then what was coming might not be necessary because the president, I used the term loosely, would have been in the palace they just destroyed. And what the hell were they doing since the palace wasn't even on the list of targets? That might all be a moot point because after watching the video feed, I wasn't sure they survived this mission. They were being chased by 3 GAZ trucks, just like theirs. Then there was a huge explosion, so large it temporarily blinded the satellites. And when the video feed came back online, all we could see were truck parts everywhere. Flashback, Mira and Ira. We easily reached the presidential palace in time to view an extremely interesting pursuit. I remarked, Ira, the operator of the Harlequin's vehicle possesses excellent operational skills. She replied, Yes, however, the vehicle has an overabundance of equipment which hinders their escape. I questioned, what is that buffoon in the Harlequin's vehicle perpetrating? Ira began to answer, then there was an extreme explosion which temporarily disabled my ocular units. Ira asked, Mira, do your ocular units function? I replied, no, my sister, I am as blind as a baseball. Ira chided me. Then we must use our other senses to make sure no one approaches until our ocular units recover. Mira, use your olfactory senses, and I will use my auditory senses. The several minutes it took for our ocular units to again function seemed like an eternity. But when they did, we were both excited. I remarked, Ira, it looks as if the Harlequins might have destroyed themselves. Ira answered, Mira, that is a possibility. However, we will need to wait until after the rest of the RG troops leave to examine the wreckage and make a positive determination. Flashback, Jack, undisclosed location. I yelled at Ben over the noise of the engine. Can't this damn Jeep go any faster? He yelled back, I've got it floored, but with all the gear in here, we're too heavy. Yeah, we blew the hell out of a presidential palace, and it stirred up shit like kicking 100 hornet nests. Oh, we outran the tanks as always, but they had some of the exact same Jeeps we had, and try as we might, we couldn't outrun them. I answered, just keep ahead of them and try not to throw me out. I have an idea. I unbelted, which wasn't the wisest thing to do with Ben's Ben driving style, crawled into the back and grabbed a manpad. Then I popped the top hatch, stood up with the manpad on my shoulder, and took aim at the closest Jeep pursuing us, which was damn close. I activated the manpad, but since they were so close, I never did get a lock. I pulled the trigger anyway, and the Jeep chasing us erupted in a huge fireball. It was so large it raised the end of our Jeep off the ground. Somehow Ben was able to keep control, singed the hell out of my face, temporarily blinded me, and knocked my butt back into our Jeep. I was dazed and confused, but I still heard it when Ben yelled, Damn Jack, you blew all the scumsuckers to hell. Hang on, because I'm dropping into a ravine. I held on for dear life, and for once it wasn't so bad. My vision slowly cleared. I looked out the bulletproof back window, which was pockmarked from hits, and he was right, because no one was left following us. Then I noticed a problem. Hey Ben, I hate to tell you this, but we're on fire. Ben answered, Yeah Jack, they hit the jerry cans on the back of my GAZ with some rounds, and when you blew the scumsuckers to hell it set them on fire. I questioned, Don't you think we need to stop and put it out? Ben replied, No, it's diesel, so it's not like it's going to blow up. He had a point. I crawled back up front. Ben looked over at me and laughed. Damn Jack, what the hell happened to you? I questioned, What do you mean? He continued to laugh. Look in the damn mirror. I yanked the mirror over, looked in it, and swore, Damn it, my face looks like a lobster. Ben added to the insult, Yeah, not only that, you don't have any eyebrows. I took a closer look and he was right. I replied, Shit, I look like some sort of clown. I finally noticed we weren't going like a bat out of hell, so I asked, Is something wrong with our Jeep? Ben answered, No, nothing's mechanically wrong. With the jerrycans gone, I'm just conserving fuel. I questioned, So where the hell are we going to get more fuel? Ben looked at me and grinned. Well, this is a diesel, so JP8, jet fuel, should burn great. I nodded my head and worried. Not only should it burn great, it should make this Jeep even faster. Probably not a good idea. Present, Tom, C-130 landed at DI. I was tired of everyone reacting to everything, mostly in an incorrect way, and no one taking charge, so I took charge. I scrutinized the vehicles as they approached and wasn't sure they posed a real threat. Now I needed to make sure we didn't pose a threat, so I ordered Byron to lay down his rifle. I could tell he sure as hell didn't like that idea, and I ordered Jim to stand down. We sure as hell don't need another firefight, especially not on the private runways of DI. Jim complains, Who the hell died and made you the boss? If I feel like getting my weapons, I'm going to get them. I order, Linus, take him down. Linus takes him down hard. The vehicles circle us, one door opens, and the person in charge steps out. Just like I thought, they were paramilitary. He struts towards us like a bandy rooster and asks, Where is Ms. Donaldson? I decide this could be fun, so I grin and answer, You just missed her. The police took her away. I watch as visible signs of anger cross his face and wish I could play a few hands of poker with him. He again demands, What the hell happened? I reply with my own question, Well, just who the hell are you to be asking, and what concern is it of yours? He spouts, It's my concern because my orders were to secure Ms. Donaldson and her party, smartass. So tell me where she is, or I will have my men teach you a lesson. I grin at him again and threaten, That would be the last order you ever gave, and you would lose all your men. He laughs and taunts, Just how the hell do you plan on doing that? You're not even armed. I whistle. The door on the C-130 opens and James is there with the minigun pointed right at the a-hole. I yawn and reply, Well, I'm not armed, but my friends are. Yeah, it is SOP for James and the rest of the crew of the 130 to stand by in situations like this. That's why I'm not worried. I watch as his face turns red and then green as I again request, "Now who exactly are you?" He says, "I was sent here to make sure Ms. Donaldson and her party are safe and to see you to stay here until Ms. Sedankina and her party arrive." I poke him in the chest. "Was that to request that we stay here until Mira arrives or to detain us until Mira arrives?" He shrugs his shoulders and asks, "Aren't they basically the same?" I shake my head and try to get through his thick skull. "Hell no. We might actually stay here if it was a request, but if you think you can forcefully detain us, then you're barking up the wrong damn tree." I was losing my patience with this scumsucker, so I repeat my question. "So, is this a request?" I can see him scanning the armed men behind me and calculating the survivability, which was almost 0. He finally surrenders. "It's a request, sir." I laugh. "Don't call me sir. I work for a living. Now since it's a request, most of us will stay here." He starts to complain and I explain, "Shut up and let me finish. Most of us will stay here while the rest of us go and liberate Jennifer Donaldson. I could sure use some of your men to help secure our perimeter." He answers, "That's what we were sent to do in the first place." I watch as he deploys his men. I shake my head and wonder what sort of mall soldier this jerk is. Then I do a mental inventory of all we need to do, the resources that we have, and realize this is going to take some work because it's a logistical mess and I hate logistics. I smile broadly. It's time to delegate. Present, Byron, C-130 landed at DI. Tom orders, Byron, James, Linus, and Maria front and center. It's a surprise when he includes Maria. We gather in front of him and he says, "Okay guys, here's what I need you to do. Byron, you handle getting Hammer and Todd to the hospital and find out where the hell those guys are that Jennifer arranged for to watch them. We're too short of crew right now to allocate anyone for protection." I question, more just to bother him because I already know the answer. "What about using some of these new guys?" He laughs. "Byron, don't tell me you've gotten so old you can't recognize weekend warriors. These guys aren't fit to even hold a weapon, much less give us any real help." He looks at Linus and orders, "Linus, throw together a rescue team for Jennifer using Matt and Jim. Make sure they know you're the boss and understand the rules of engagement." Linus questions. Present, Linus, C-130 landed at DI. It's good to see Tom, or anyone, taking charge, and I'm happy, but surprised. He included Maria because I didn't think she was part of the team yet. He gives me my assignment, but I need clarification, so I ask, "And what are those rules?" Tom answers, "Non-lethal unless Jennifer's life is in peril." I continue, "Do we know where she's being held?" He grins and says, "Not right at the moment, but I saw her pick up a cell phone when she left the C-130 and tuck it in her pocket." Now, James, this is where you come in. Figure out whose phone she grabbed. Then get on our systems and use the phone to figure out where they've taken her. Then assist Byron with Hammer and Todd. James says, "I'll start on that right away." Then he leaves. Maria asks, "What am I doing?" "Helping Linus." Tom smiles and says, "No, sorry about that. Since we've lost James, your logistical support." I worry what's coming next when Maria asks, "Just exactly what does that mean?" I can't believe what Tom says to her. She's left speechless and dumbfounded as I grab her arm and lead her away. I need to have a talk with her before she kicks Tom's butt. Present, Maria, C-130 landed at DI. I can't believe it when I ask for a clarification of my duties and Tom says, "Well, sweetie, I broke a coffee pot that needs cleaned up, and while you're at it, see about making some more coffee. Oh, and I think we could all use a little snack. I know sandwiches would be great. And if you could deliver mine, I would appreciate it." I'm stunned since I thought I would be helping Linus. Linus leads me away, then it hits me and I spout, "I'm going to kick his butt." Just who the hell does he think I am, a servant? I try to yank my arm out of Linus's grasp, but Linus holds tight and answers, "Maria, you need to see this for what it really is. Tom's just testing you to see if you will follow orders before he lets you on the team." I continue to complain. "Well, I sure as hell don't want to be on this team, if I'm a REMF." Linus continues to try to soothe me. "Come on, Maria, I know you've had shitty assignments before. So just play the game with Tom and make me proud." I finally yank my arm out of his grasp and reply, "Just why would you assume I've had shitty assignments? It wouldn't be because I am a woman, would it?" Linus gets serious and answers, "Listen, I don't think that way, and I sure as hell don't like you assuming that I think that way. I let it slide the first few times, but I'm tired of it, so cut it the hell out. Now we both have missions to do. I'm doing mine, and I would suggest you keep your mouth shut and do yours, because it really is a test." He storms away, and I worry I've pushed him too far, but then I remember my princess boss's advice. I run, catch up with him, spin him around, give him a smoking hot kiss, pull away and say, "Thank you, Linus, for helping me get the right perspective on this. Sorry I got all bitchy about it. But when you get back, I'll be looking forward to some make-up sex." I stroll away with a little more than usual sway, look over my shoulder, and yes, Linus is watching me. I head into the C-130 and decide, make a sandwich my butt. I'm going to fix Tom a sandwich all right, and a little bit more. Present, Byron, C-130 landed at DI. Tom handles the situation with the weekend warriors masterfully and defuses what could have been a big fight. Then he gives me my assignment, which I already knew was coming. He gives Linus his assignment, which was also expected. But I wondered what the hell he was going to have Maria do. I couldn't believe it when he told her to clean up his mess, make coffee and sandwiches, and bring him one. Linus wisely gets Maria the hell away from Tom before Tom gets his butt kicked. I smile at him and say, that was a stroke of genius and masterfully played. He laughs. Yeah, I figure right about now she's giving Linus hell. I reply, and knowing Linus, he's not going to put up with that very long. Tom rubs his chin, then says, shit. It looks like it didn't work out quite like I planned. I turn just in time to see Linus watching Maria as she sashays away, and add, yet Tom, I would say Linus is in love. Tom answers, well, it was a good try, but I still have a few more tricks up my sleeves, and she still has to follow my orders. By the way, shouldn't you be doing something about now? I turn back, but notice another group of vehicles heading our way. I alert him. Tom, looks like we have more company. He watches the vehicles, leans over, and says, now this could get interesting. Then he orders, everyone regroup around the C-130. This group stops outside the first group. I watch as they all exit the vehicles and take up positions behind their vehicles, a totally different move from the first group. One of them asks, who's in charge here? Bandy Rooster answers, I am. Tom whispers, that was the wrong answer. Now this should be fun. Present, Jens, headed to the psych hospital. I can't believe Megan. I am so angry at her that if I ever get loose I'm going to kick her, but so hard she'll be smiling out her butt. She can tell I'm upset and tries to calm me. Jens, this is for your own good. I glare at her, but know better to say anything. Damn shrinks use anything you say against you. Instead I take control of my temper and just smile at her. Present, Megan, headed to the psych hospital. Jens gives me a scary smile and won't talk to me. So I pull out my notebook, write, and say out loud. Patient refuses to respond verbally to simple questions. She smiles and asks, Megan, what would you like me to say? I return her smile and answer, I was hoping you would tell me how this makes you feel. She answers, well, I am surprised that you feel the need to hold me for observation. I tell her, well, Jens, you did have that catatonic schizophrenic episode on the flight. Jens smiles and answers, Megan, I have no idea what you were talking about. I analyze her answer. It makes me wonder what the hell sort of game she's playing. This is a new one to me. Present, Jens, headed to the psych hospital. I figure out Megan's game, and she's made a huge mistake since she assumes that someone on the C-130 will back up her story about my episode, as she likes to call it. However, I know that everyone on the C-130 is faithful to me. All I need is to buy some time until they come and take me out of whatever hellhole psych ward Megan wants to cage me in. Besides, I'm really not crazy. I can really connect to Ben, and I sure as hell saw him give that skanky hoe the treatment she deserved. But I can't afford to think about that right now, as I need to remain calm and collected. She writes in her notebook, and I ask, so Megan, my best friend, what are you writing now? She smiles and says, I'm simple notating that you are now either in denial or have amnesia about your catatonic schizophrenic episode. I smile and question, Megan, are you sure you haven't let your feelings for me cloud your professional judgment? Because I think you're delusional. She snaps at me, Jens, you're not a psychologist, so don't try to pull that bullshit on me. I smile and snidely reply, that's right, Megan, I'm not, and I'm sure that everyone will believe you. Present, Megan, at the psych hospital. Jens is really frustrating me. First, she insinuates she knows about how I feel towards her, but I'm sure she doesn't understand the depth of my feelings. Next, she tries to play her amateur psych games on me. She did make a mistake since she assumed I had her taken here just because of her catatonic schizophrenic episode. However, that was only part of it, and is she in for a big surprise? The officers escort us into the hospital, and I ask, will you watch her while I check in? I finish. The officers take off the handcuffs and leave as the orderlies escort us to Jens' room. I tell her, Jens, go ahead and change, I will be right back. Jens smiles again at me and says, don't worry, Megan, I will be here waiting for you when you come back. Now to arrange for the real reason I had her brought here. Present, Jens, at the psych hospital. The orderlies leave my room, and I wonder what sort of country club place I'm in because no one bothered to even search me. I slip the mobile phone out of my pants pocket, and son of a frackin' bitch, there's no signal here. I scan the room, find a great hiding place, and stash the phone for later. I look over and swear I'm going to puke. Not another frackin' orange jumpsuit. I look putrid in orange. I change, fold my clothes nicely, put them on the end of the bed, lie on the bed, and wait for Megan to come back. Megan finally comes back, and she's all alone. I decide to spring into action and escape. I jump up, grab the bitch around the neck, and choke the hell out of her. I let her lifeless body fall to the floor, run out into the hallway, and frack, double frack, and triple frack. Present Liz different C-130 landed. I wonder why the hell we've landed. Mira comes up with Alexei, carrying the no longer mysterious cylinder, and Zarika, who appears to be her new best friend. She smiles at me and states, "Ms. Morgan, we are departing this aircraft." I look at her and question, "What for?" She states, "I cannot abide residing in the same aircraft as the sham soldiers who abused Zarika. Therefore, we will transfer to a different aircraft and leave the soldiers behind." I question, "What about Yasmin? She needs medical care." Mira waves her hand and coldly states, "Ms. Morgan, she may accompany you. However, we will not perform indulgencies for her medical condition as it is not life-threatening. The pain which I inflicted upon her should be a stern reminder to never torture another human again. Now we are leaving. Would you please accompany us?" I look at Bernie, and I'm completely speechless. Bernie advises, "Come on, Liz, we need to move it." We follow Mira outside, and there's a much nicer aircraft waiting for us. Bernie nudges my arm and comments, "Nothing like trading up." We enter what has to be one of the nicest corporate jets I have ever traveled in. We are assisted to our seats and offered refreshments. Then the jet takes off for DA. There is even a private doctor on board to look at the girls. Mira insists he examine and treat Zarika first, then allows him to look at Yasmin. I recline in my seat, sip my gin and tonic, and wonder about Myra's mystery boyfriend. Whoever he is, he must be richer than Daddy Warbucks. Present Myra's mystery man. I should have known better than to send mercenaries to transport my Tavarish, because they really fouled things up. I wasn't aware of the power struggle between the two young girls they brought with them. I discovered it was over which one was the first wife of the unfortunate, if he ever meets them, Ben Blaine. The youngest one's actions were well within the realm of a first wife and would be acceptable in their culture. However, due to previous experiences by my Tavarish, they greatly angered her. However, it was the mercenaries' role in everything which majorly angered me. To eliminate their distraction, I sent my private jet for my Tavarish. Once I was assured the jet was safely in transit, I ordered the flight crew to abandon the C-130, leaving the mercenaries to die in a fiery crash. The flight crew was successfully recovered, however the C-130 and the mercenaries were lost. I knew my personal secretary would report the loss of the plane to my insurance company, and they would gladly pay, so it wasn't a financial loss to me. However, when other mercenaries heard of what happened, they would think twice about infuriating me again. Now that's the type of insurance that's worth more than money. I lean back in my chair and remember when the Tavarish twins rescued me. It was unforgettable for me. They might have the moniker of angels of death to most people, but I will always remember them as my angels of life. Yes, their actions took me out of the hell I was in, nursed me back to health, and gave me back my life. So the little repayment to my surviving Tavarish was not close to what I owed her. I only wish I had been able to provide the same for her deceased sister. The flight crew informed me of the cryogenic canister, and I smiled. Yes, my surviving Tavarish would finally have the offspring of her one and only love, Ben Blaine. I immediately sat bolt upright. How could I have been so dense? I pressed the button, summon my aide in order, make sure the best fertility clinic in Denver is standing by for my jet when it lands. My Tavarish will require their services. And also summon the head of my security. We need to discuss a plan to find my Tavarish's missing Ben Blaine. Yes, if she becomes pregnant with his offspring, and if I could find him for her and arrange a marriage, it might go a very long way at repaying a debt which cannot be repaid. I wonder if my Tavarish has figured out who I am, or if she even remembers me. Present, Stacy, travel back to the bunker. The horses are more than spooked. They are scared and are running like hell. I'm holding onto the travois for dear life and decide I desperately need Ben. I free one hand, thumb the hammer back on the shiny rifle, and fire a shot. Well, that was a mistake because now the horses are even more out of control and running faster. Present, Ben, travel back to the bunker, recon. Well, whoever was stalking us is stalking me now, which is much better since they are leaving Stacy the hell out of this. Now it will just be between the two of us, mano y mano. As I decide to start stalking this scumsucker, I think I see something, but then I hear the distinctive report of the Winchester Centennial 66. I snap my rifle to my shoulder, fire a couple shots in the general direction of what I thought I saw to try to deter whoever's stalking me. I begin running in the direction of the report. I hear a second shot from the Winchester and realize I'm much further away than I first thought. I run the best I can, but my leg still bothers me some. As for whoever is stalking me, the shots sure didn't deter them because the hair on the back of my neck are still standing tall. Present, Stacy, travel back to the bunker. Where the hell is Ben? I operate the lever on the rifle. Hey, this is a pretty cool rifle, and fire a second shot in hopes that he will hear me this time. I'm looking forward trying to see if the horses are any more calm. when I hear a noise behind me. I turn and I can't believe what the hell is chasing us. I yell, "Faster you nags and get us the hell out of here." I figure it's gaining on us, probably because Knacker isn't very damn fast pulling this travois. So I try my best to snuggle down into the travois, let go with both hands, operate the lever on this cool rifle again, and fire at it. But of course I miss, because there's no way in hell I can hit it while I'm bouncing around on this travois. Let's see, that's 3 shots. How many shots did Ben say this cool rifle held? Present. Ben, travel back to the bunker. I hear another shot from the Winchester. That's 3, but I determine I'm much closer. There was 1 in the chamber, so she only has 4 rounds left. I sure hope she remembers to reload before she runs it empty. I ignore the pain and find the energy to run even faster, and I know the extra speed must be pure adrenaline. I still feel the hair on the back of my neck. In fact, it's worse than ever, so whoever is stalking me is also faster than I am. I chuckle for a moment when I remember Mira and how she was faster than I was. It would be funny as hell if it was her again. Shit, there's another shot from the Winchester, but I'm much closer now, and soon I will be on the same road the horses are on. Then I can really fly. Present. Stacy, travel back to the bunker. I fire again, more out of fear than anything else. Ben sure the hell is right. Controlling fear in a confrontation is the hardest thing of all. I operate the lever and fire again, and of course I miss, so I do it again and miss again. Frack it all, how many shots was that? I decide I'd better reload, start looking for the box of ammo for the rifle, and realize it's gone. I frantically check, and thank God I still have the revolver. I pull up the revolver, cock it and fire, and damn it I miss. Present. Ben, travel back to the bunker. I hit the road and crank up the speed, but whoever's chasing me must do the same because the hair on my neck feels like needles. I hear the report of the revolver and figure Stacy's in real trouble. I round the bend and I can't believe what I see. I almost stop running because I'm so damn surprised. It's a lion chasing her. I hear a growl behind me and realize I've got another lion chasing me. Where the hell did lions come from in Texas? When Stacy fires again, the round whistles past my head and I hear a yowl from behind me. Damn it, she missed her lion and hit mine. I see her cock the revolver again and figure I need to be out of the line of fire, so I jog to the side as she fires again and misses everything. I glance over my shoulder to check the situation. My lion is hurt and pissed. But thanks to Stacy's lucky shot, it's running slower and I'm improving the distance between us some. I decide that if I fire at her lion, it might just distract it. So I pull my pistol. Present. Stacy, travel back to the bunker. Ben finally shows up, but I can't believe it. He's bringing another fracking lion with him. I fire, miss my lion, miss Ben, thank God. But somehow it hits his lion, which lets out a yowl and noticeably slows. I watch as Ben pulls his revolver, fires, and he hits my damn lion. It yowls like crazy, Knacker freaks out and swerves, and I get thrown off the travois. The last thing I remember is hearing a hell of a lot of gunshots. Then I hit the ground and, present, Ben, travel back to the bunker. I'm distracted by Stacy falling off the travois. Then when I regain my composure, I realize I have a wounded lion in front of me, another wounded lion behind me, and 5 rounds left in my revolver. I'm gaining faster on the lion in front of me, so that's my first target. Besides, it's still after Stacy. I figure if I can take it down with the revolver, I just might have time to use my rifle on the lion chasing me. So I empty my revolver into the lion chasing Stacy, and it finally collapses in a heap. I keep running, bring my rifle around, spin, and face the lion behind me. It lets go a blood-curdling yowl. I fire offhand, but damn it I miss. I operate the bolt, fire again, and this time it's a hit. The lion slows some more, but keeps coming. I operate the bolt and fire. It's another hit, but the damn thing still won't go down. I operate the bolt, fire again, and the rifle goes click. Damn it. I forgot the mag on this rifle only holds 4 rounds, so I'm out of ammo and out of luck. It charges me, so I wait until it's close enough and swing the rifle like a baseball bat with all my might. It connects squarely with the head of the lion, snaps the stock of the rifle in 2, and the lion collapses right on top of me. I scramble, trying to get my hand free to find my knife, and realize this is not my tactical vest, so it's in a different place. Then I realize the lion on top of me isn't moving anyway, and begin to laugh like crazy. Present. Stacy, travel back to the bunker. SA and SLLS training. I wake up to the sound of Ben's laughter, and I wonder what the frack is so funny. I slowly get up, realize how damn sore I am now, look over, and see a lion on top of Ben. I pull up my revolver, fire, and hit the dirt in front of the lion. Ben yells, "Stacy, stop firing. This damn lion's already dead. Come over here and help get this damn smelly thing off me." I shuffle over, look at the 2 of them, and ask, "How in the hell do you expect me to move this fracking lion in the condition I'm in?" Ben says, "Shit, I forgot that you're a little hurt." I interrupt, No, I'm a lot damn hurt now. He whistles. Bo shows up this time by himself, but won't get close to Ben. I say, well, a lot of good that did. Ben answers, well, get the rope off Bo and bring it here. I walk towards Bo, but his ears are back and he's pawing the ground like crazy. So I begin to talk to him till he calms enough for me to reach him. I take the rope, bring it over by Ben. He loops it around the lion's neck and says, now hook this over Bo's saddle horn and have him pull. Again, I have to soothe Bo as I walk toward him, tie the rope to his saddle horn, and begin to lead him. It drags the lion off Ben with a thud. Bo looks back, sees the lion is moving, and takes off running, dragging the lion behind him. Ben cusses, damn it. I thought I told you to hook it over his saddle horn, not tie it over his saddle horn. We'll never see him again. Ben begins to whistle and I sit down and do the only reasonable thing. I cry. Present. Ben, travel back to the bunker. Shit. I got upset at Stacy, yelled at her, and in the condition she's in, she becomes more upset and starts crying like hell. I sit down beside her, try to hug her, but she pushes me away and blubbers. You yelled at me. I apologize. Yeah, I was upset about Bo, worked up from dealing with the lions, and I let my emotions get the best of me. Please forgive me. She was going to say something else when I see movement beside the road and order, listen, Stacy, you need to calm down right now, stand up slowly, and we need to move toward those trees. At least she stops crying, looks up, and says, it's that damn rhino. He's what spooked the horses in the first place. I calmly tell Stacy, do what I said. I notice she still has the Winchester and add, don't forget to take the rifle. As she starts to stand, the rhino's ears are twitching and he snorts. I caution her, move slowly, Stacy. She's finally standing. We back towards the trees, are almost there when the rhino begins to paw the ground. I look at Stacy and say, quick run. I sure hope you can climb trees. She yells, I can climb them better than you. We reach the trees and find she's right. She goes up the tree, even in her condition, like a monkey. I barely make it up my tree when the damn rhino runs into the tree. It shakes the hell out of it, and I lose my grip, begin to fall, but reach out and snag a branch just in time. Just as the rhino repeatedly rams my tree, paws the ground, and snorts. I get a better grip and climb higher. Present, Stacy, travel back to the bunker. I sure as hell can climb trees better than Ben. Ben barely makes it into his tree as the stupid rhino runs into his tree and almost knocks him out of it. Ben catches a branch at the last moment, pulls himself up, and then scrambles higher up in the tree as if he is worried the rhino is going to climb the tree after him. I find this thought funny and begin to laugh. Ben demands, what's so funny? I taunt, you do know rhinos can't climb trees, don't you? I guess Ben finds it funny too because he also begins to laugh. However, the rhino sure doesn't like the laughing because he begins to ram my tree. It shakes the hell out of it, and I climb even higher. Then Ben really laughs and says, yeah, it's not so funny when he's ramming your tree. I take a pine cone and bounce it off the rhino's head. He looks confused and attacks Ben's tree. Ben yells, hey, cut that out. I throw another pine cone, and this one sticks on the rhino's horn, which really gets it upset, and it attacks the hell out of both of our trees. Finally, it knocks the pine cone off and goes back to snorting and pawing the ground. I decide that throwing pine cones at rhinos isn't such a good idea, even if it's funny. I ask Ben, how in the hell are we getting out of this situation? He quickly answers, the best way. We are going to shoot our way out of it. I reply, well, I don't have any bullets left. He smiles and says, but I have a whole box of ammo for your rifle in my pack. I question, how am I going to get the rifle to you? Ben answers with a question, are you any good at throwing, or do you throw like a girl? Ben's distracted because he's watching the rhino, so I throw a pine cone as hard as I can. It bounces off his head. He jumps, about falls out of the tree, and yells, damn it, that hurt like hell. No wonder the rhino doesn't like it. I giggle, yes, but it answered your stupid question. So you want me to throw the rifle to you? Ben doesn't immediately answer, and I realize he's thinking. Finally, he explains. Present, Ben, travel back to the bunker. Damn, this is one fine mess. Treed by a rhino, and there's no way in hell anyone's going to believe me when I tell this story. I barely believe it myself. I decide to try something and say, Stacy, let's try something. If we're totally quiet, maybe this damn rhino will just go away. We sit motionless. Well, I do, but Stacy still fidgets a little. For 5 minutes, but the damn rhino is still right below my tree, pawing and snorting. I'm frustrated and complain, I know rhinos have bad eyesight. Why doesn't this damn rhino just leave? The rhino attacks my tree again at the sound of my voice, and Stacy answers, well, you do smell like a lion. I smack my head and realize, the rhino thinks I'm a lion, and there's no way in hell he's going to leave until he's damn well ready to. Stacy asks, so why don't you just shoot the rhino like you talked about earlier? I answer, well, I thought about it and ran the numbers in my head. The 30-30 round the Winchester fires doesn't have enough energy to kill the rhino unless I'm lucky as hell. And an angry rhino is one thing, but a wounded, angry rhino is a totally different thing. Then I make the decision to try something else. Present, Stacy, travel back to the bunker. I'm watching Ben remove his camouflage suit and ask, "Are you finally getting tired of smelling like that nasty lion? Because I don't know what you did to that thing, but you smell so bad it makes my eyes water." Ben replies, "I think it was you, and I think you hit one of its scent glands. By the way, thanks for letting me know I smell like a lion, because I sure can't smell it. And it's that smell that's attracting the rhino." I answers, "Oh yeah, I remember reading that rhinos hate lions. So what's the plan?" Ben replies, "Well, it's pretty half-baked, and I'm not sure it's going to work. So I'm not telling you until I try it." The rhino attacks Ben's tree again. He almost falls and grabs for the branches, then he asks, "Hey, you think you can distract the rhino with a few more of those pine cones?" I question, "Well, the last time I did that, he went crazy, so I'm not sure I like that idea." Ben adds, "Well, this time don't hit him, but see if you can make some noise over to the side by those bushes." I easily sling a pine cone into the bushes. The rhino turns towards the bushes, snorts, and paws the ground. I say, "Hey, it worked." Then he attacks my tree, and I hold on for dear life. Ben laughs, "Yeah, you're doing a great job of distracting him." Then the rhino attacks Ben's tree, and I laugh, and he turns again to my tree, so I decide to shut up. Ben motions to me to throw another pine cone. So I hit the bushes again, and the rhino turns towards the noise. Ben grunts, and I look over and see he's stuck. The rhino charges his tree and slams into it really hard. Ben falls. I scream, but Ben grabs a branch just in time, and the rhino attacks my tree after hearing my scream. I'm pissed off at the damn rhino and begin pelting the hell out of it with pine cones. I guess it gets tired of it, and finally runs past the trees and into the bushes. Present, Ben, travel back to the bunker. I guess Stacy gets upset because she's nailing the rhino with pine cones like crazy. He looks confused, but finally takes off into the bushes. I laugh and tease, "Good job. I guess this proves that you can even annoy a rhino." She flips me off and says, "Well, at least I was able to get rid of him. I can't wait to get out of this tree because it hurts like hell." I get angry as I remember what the scumsucker did to her, and I can only imagine the pain she must feel sitting on the branches, but I caution her. "Stacy, I hate to tell you this, but we need to stay up here until we are totally sure he's gone." She complains, "Ben, I really need to get out of this tree. I think I'm bleeding again." I tell her, "Well, let me finish getting out of my ghillie suit, and then I will drop down lower and see if the scumsucker is really gone." I finally get out of my suit, drop down lower, just as the damn rhino charges out of the bushes and rams my tree. He's also in the perfect position for my plan. I drop the ghillie suit, it falls on top of him and gets stuck on his horn and ears. That pisses him off, so he goes crazy and starts ramming into everything. The trees are shaking like they're being hit by a tornado. I can barely hold on when finally the rhino takes off up the road. I sigh, look around and say, "Okay, I think for now it's safe to come down out of the tree." I expect an answer from Stacy, but when I look up, I see she's slumped over in her tree. Shit, what the hell is wrong now? Flashback, Jack, undisclosed location. It seemed like it took forever to get to the underground hangar. We were still doing about 60 kilometers per hour, but compared to when Ben drove this thing like a striped ape, this was more than sedate. It was boring as hell. I could tell even Ben was bored because he was purposely running into and over things. Since I figured we both needed a diversion, I asked, "So Ben, what's the plan for getting more fuel and jerry cans?" I knew I had his attention because he was driving better as he answered, "Well, I think we might do the last thing they expect us to do." I looked at Ben in astonishment. "You have to be kidding." He laughed and confirmed, "Jack, it's perfect because they will never expect it." Flashback, Major M, Command and Control. We were still analyzing the debris from the truck explosion, but it was scattered all over hell, and the RG troops didn't help because they kept moving the shit around. I wanted to know if we had the debris of 3 trucks or 4 trucks. Finally, we went back to the first snapshot of the area after the cameras regained imaging and starting adding up the pieces. I paced the room as the text worked. Then my aide came in and said, "Sir, you might want to see this." The underground hangar was just destroyed. I ran into the main ops room, and everyone was cheering. Damn, the SGTS. Pulled off another one. I needed to get on the horn to the general. Flashback, Mira and Ira, undisclosed location. I was world-weary as I observed the RG inspecting the wreckage. I unfortunately did not properly control my thought processes, and my mind took a visionary vacation. My imagination transported me back to the woods, the snow, and the troika. But this time we finally had arrived at our nest of love. My sergeant very romantically swept me off my feet and carried me through the door. Then he sensually whispered, "Mira, what is your analysis?" I was immediately removed from my wool-gathering pursuit and replied, "Ira, I am not sure. Myra's thought patterns had been disturbed ever since we departed the USA. She did not improve in Israel, and I comprehended she still possessed a romantic fixation. This could be a detriment not just to our mission, but also to our existence. In the sight of behind, not allowing closure for her terminated relationship with the infernal Sergeant Blaine was a mistake. I pondered this as a new message arrived from Israel. Combined with unease regarding my beloved sister, the news infuriated me to a debilitating degree. I stated, "Those female Seleucids are going to pay." Mira looked at me and inquired, "Is there some disturbing issue, Ira?" I bitterly complained, "Yes. The Harlequins just demolished the underground hangar which we were supposed to be observing." Mira additionally became agitated. "This will not appear as if we are very professional." I postulated, "Perhaps we can still contain them if we proceed with abandon." We acquired our motorcycles and commenced post-haste. I was justifiably proud that this time my sister Mira was properly motivated. Flashback, Jack, undisclosed location. Sometimes I wondered if Ben had more balls than brains. However, this time it worked perfectly. The guards at the gate saw us coming. They opened the gates. We waved as we went through and drove through the open hangar doors. Halfway back, we saw the fuel tanks and drove right up to them. It probably helped that we were wearing the same uniform as the guards. Ben said, "Jack, cover me as I fill us up and find some more jerry cans." He bailed out the driver's side of the Jeep, and I slowly got out of the passenger side and pretended to stretch. I got concerned when he took off, but he was back in 5 minutes with a cart loaded with jerry cans and a crate. I questioned, "What's in the crate?" He grinned at me, "Russian standard vodka, the platinum version." I gave him a dirty look and complained, "This is a hell of a time to think about drinking." He continued grinning, "Hey, this isn't for us." "Well, okay, we might save one bottle. This is for my GAZ." I questioned, "You're going to get the damn Jeep drunk?" Ben shot back, "Hell no, but I remember watching a Soviet film about how a submarine crew recovered a bunch of vodka. When the sub ran out of fuel, they used the vodka to power the sub, and it ran better than ever." I complained, "Well, this isn't a submarine." Ben countered, "But my GAZ is Russian, and I bet she would love a little shot of vodka now and then." I shook my head and watched as Ben poured a whole damn bottle of vodka in the fuel tank, and I began to worry. He'd started treating this Jeep better than I'd seen him treat most women. You would think he was in love. I need to have a serious talk with him later, but in the meantime, I had been analyzing the situation and had come up with a great plan to destroy the underground hangar. Ben finished filling the Jeep and all the jerry cans. Then we loaded them along with the rest of the vodka. I questioned, "How long do you think it would take for you to get us out of here?" He looked around and asked, "Do you want to leave peacefully?" I answered, "Hell no. I want you to drive like you normally do." He grinned and said, "Well, we can get you out of here in under 60 seconds. I told him, "Well, get ready to leave because I'm going to give you 55 seconds. I placed the fuel hose behind the tanks, set a timed charge for 1 minute. Hey, I wanted Ben motivated, started the timer, and taped the fuel nozzle wide open. Then I sprinted to the Jeep, jumped in, and Ben floored it. Perhaps Ben was right about the vodka, or perhaps I'd gotten used to his slow driving, but it felt like I was in a rocket. We flew past guards as they finally figured out who we were and started closing the hangar doors. I yelled over the noise of the engine, "You better move this damn Jeep." Ben laughed, "Don't worry, we will have just enough time." I couldn't believe it when the idiots actually started firing at us and worried Ben was going to want me to man the gun again. But he was too busy driving the hell out of this Jeep. We just made it through the doors as the timed charge went off. I looked behind us and saw flames belch out of the underground hangar. Ben cut the wheel sharply, and I realized why. The gate was closed, and there was no way we could drive through it. Ben commanded, "Jack, you need to get one of those damn RPGs and blow us a hole through the fence." Then he cut the wheel in another direction as we were being fired at. I unbelted, crawled into the back, grabbed an RPG, popped the roof hatch, and yelled, "I think the gates are the weakest point." When I stand up, drive right at them. I stood up, Ben headed right at the gate. I fired the RPG, it sort of blew up the gates, and the Jeep crashed through what was left. I dropped into the passenger seat, belted in, and said, "That was too close for comfort." Ben gave me a sad look and said, "Yeah, I think I hurt my girl running through the gates." I suddenly worried we'd really broken the Jeep and questioned, "Just what the hell do you mean?" I thought he was going to cry when he said, "Look at her. She's dented." I looked over the hood and couldn't tell a bit off difference, so I teased, "Well, just give her some more vodka for the pain." I was glad this time, however, that no tanks showed up since I hated manning the gun. Ben floored it, and we took off, literally because he hit another funny-looking big bump for our next target. Flashback, Mira and Ira, undisclosed location. We arrived again at our underground hangar observation post, and the minuscule cache of equipment we left had been utterly destroyed. I complained. Somehow the Harlequins discovered our location and trampled it with their infernal vehicle. Ira added, "However, I think they made a miscalculation. There is currently no wind to obliterate their tracks. Ira and I quickly searched through the damaged equipment, recovered what was still serviceable, loaded it onto our motorcycles, then buried the debris. I looked at Ira and commented, "Perhaps the weather will hold, and we will for once contain these harlequins." Ira pointed at the horizon and said, "Mira, your observation capabilities are still underpowered. Do you not see the approaching storm?" I directed my attention to the direction she pointed at and exclaimed, "Fecal matter." "Ira, you are correct. Since our shelters have been destroyed, we must find alternative shelter." Ira looked at her map and stated, "There is a ravine relatively close and in the direction opposite the storm's path. Perhaps we can find suitable hospice there." We proceeded post-haste for the ravine because being trapped outside in a desert storm was more than uncomfortable. It was possibly lethal. We rode to the ravine and proceeded to traverse the ravine. Our luck returned by our side as there was a cave, which should be serviceable shelter, and it was large enough to accommodate our motorcycles. I carefully maneuvered into the cave and saw and smelled signs of previous usage. I loudly complained, "Someone was here recently and abused this cave." Ira added, "Yes, it smells like urine and fecal matter." I illuminated my flashlight, scanned the room, but could not find any additional clues left by the former occupants. Then I surmised, "Sister, I believe we have discovered the location which the harlequins used for the 2 days they were absent." Ira was busy using a piece of the damaged shelter to seal the doorway. She looked up and agreed, "Sister, that is an excellent analysis." I was relieved that Mira finally seemed to have her game into the head. Perhaps now I would not have to be quite as concerned about her mental state. I requested, "Mira, please come and help me seal the opening." She came over, and once again we existed as a team and performed as a team. Flashback, Jack, undisclosed location. Ben was driving more strangely than normal, so I looked over and asked, "Please tell me you see that damn storm." He gave me a serious look and stated, "Hell yes, I see it, Jack. I'm looking for someplace to lay low until it passes." I complained, "Well, you sure as hell don't have much time." He finally found a ravine and did his usual trick of sliding us into it. He backed the Jeep around so its butt end was toward the wall and said, "Jack, give me a hand getting her ready for the storm." We bailed out. Ben grabbed some plastic and began to tape it over the windshield and side windows. He yelled at me, "Jack, get some plastic bags and cover the air intake and the exhaust pipe." I found some bags and more tape and covered the hell out of everything. The storm was almost upon us, and the sky turned blood red. Ben ran over and yelled over the howl of the wind, "That's a great job, Jack. Now let's get inside and ride this one out." You've never been in a windstorm until you've been in a desert sandstorm, and this had all the makings of the mother of all sandstorms. The sand was so thick in the air it practically blocked out the sun, and even in the Jeep with everything closed, fine dust seeped in. It irritated my nose and I sneezed. Ben flipped on the light, rummaged in the back of the Jeep, and came back with a bottle of vodka. He handed it to me and said, "We might as well do the best we can to enjoy ourselves." I took a swig, looked over while Ben grinned at me, so I questioned, "What the hell are you grinning about?" I watched as he touched a screw in the side of the Jeep, then reached towards my face. A damn spark shot out of his finger and shocked the hell out of me. I complained, "Cut that the hell out." "And how did you do that?" Ben grinned. "My girl has a pretty good static charge on her because of the storm." I passed the bottle to Ben, waited until he took a swig, then I shocked the hell out of him. Two can play those games. There was a hell of a banging noise which scared me out of a damn good dream. I looked around and saw the whole inside of the Jeep, including me, were covered with dust, and I began to sneeze. Ben opened his door and said, "It's about time you woke up. Now you can help me get her ready." I opened my door, stumbled and fell out, then declared, "First I need to piss, then I need some coffee and something for my headache." Ben grinned as he beat on the Jeep's fender and laughed. "I warned you to only take 2 shots, not the whole damn bottle." Damn, I hate it when he's right. I stumbled a good distance away from the Jeep and Ben's banging and took care of business. It felt damn good because I thought my bladder was going to explode. I finished, headed back to the Jeep, and noticed that it looked really clean. I wondered where Ben got the water to wash it because in the desert water was more valuable than gold. I commented, "The Jeep looks really good." Ben grinned and answered, "Yeah, the wind sandblasted all the crap off her, but it did take her down to the bare metal in a few places." I found a couple cans of spray paint and took care of the bare spots. I added, "And you fixed the fender." He grimaced, "Well, I did all I could do with the tools I had. It will have to do for now until I can get her to a real body shop." That statement cranked up my concern, and I said, "Ben, you're getting too attached to this Jeep. When our missions are done, we're going to have to leave it here." He smiled and countered, "Jack, where there's a will, there's a way. Why don't you get busy cleaning out the inside because I need to check her engine?" I grumbled, "What about some coffee and pills?" Ben countered, "Remember what happened the last time you heated up food?" Yeah, he was right. I did grab some rations, ate the powdered coffee, and washed it down with pills and water. Then I started on the interior. It was a mess, and all I had to clean it with was a whisk broom. Ben finished with the outside and gave me a hand. Then we threw the camo net over the Jeep and relaxed for a few hours. Flashback, Major M, Command and Control. A storm of epic proportions ripped through the desert where the SGTs were thought to be located, and I didn't get my nightly report. But I wasn't worried because in storms like that the static electricity was so damn high that you didn't dare turn on electrical equipment. The other thing that giant storms do is uncover things that were previously covered. We were busy as hell analyzing the new images, looking for things that were hidden which were now exposed. One of my techs said, "Sir, could you look at this?" I walked over, looked at it, and said, "That looks to be the old wreckage of an airplane or something. Mark that location for more detailed analysis." This was just another typical day of work for me. I leaned back in my chair and rested my eyes. I'd been at this for hours and they were tired. Another tech reported, "Sir, this is something I haven't seen before." I walked over, leaned forward and glanced at the picture. I was sure it would once again be a derelict car or the bones of some animal. I looked at it, blinked my eyes, and looked at it again. I rubbed my eyes and ordered, "Give me a better image of this ASAP." I left the room, went to my office, and put a call in to the general. This was a major find. Flashback, Mira and Ira, undisclosed location. I was awake again before Mira. We used to wake at precisely the same moment, but the spy school and the sergeant had changed her, and I didn't like the change one iota. I began to make unnecessary noise to waken my sleeping Mira. My sister Ira wrongly assumed I was asleep, but I wasn't. I was basking in the remembered joy of my dream with my sergeant, which culminated last night when he gently and passionately trained me. The dream was experienced so factually that I had a dampness issue with my undergarments this morning, to which I needed to attend. Consequentially, I had to persist until Ira was occupied before I could repair the issue. I heard her banging and knew the time was propitious. I jumped up and Ira scolded, "It is about time you awakened." I falsely apologized. I must have been overly tired. I will try to be more punctual tomorrow. Then I headed off to the corner for my morning ministrations and to attend to my dampness issue. It was resolved, and I traversed to where Ira had our morning rations ready. I smiled and offered, "Thank you, my sister. Tomorrow I will prepare our rations." She smiled at me. The storm was intense last night, and I believe it will be at least one day before the Harlequins strike again. I answered, "I concur, however, with their randomness. I am not sure we can predict their next target." Ira grinned. "Yes, but we have the Israelis and our government analyzing their actions, so they might find a pattern. After rations, I will contact them to receive further instructions." I offered, "And I will open the cave and ensure our motorcycles are prepared for use." We finished eating and each headed to our self-assigned tasks. Last night's dream had given me the release I needed to once again concentrate on our mission. But I pondered the possibility that when my sergeant did perform the real release on me, how much better would I feel? Other than sleeping late, Mira was her normal self today. However, something happened last night. I heard her moaning even over the sound of the storm. At first I was concerned she was in pain, but I did not sense pain from her. What I did sense was excitement and pleasure. I determined she had an erotic dream about her sergeant which angered me at the time, but now I determined was a physical and mental release which she required to resume normal function. I added that knowledge to the list of things which changed about Mira from her ill-fortune meeting with the sergeant. I swore someday I would partake of compensation for the ruination of my sister. I made the transmission to the Israelis and was excited with the information which they relayed to us. I ran over to Mira. "The Israelis believe they have determined the next target." She smiled and replied, "Our motorcycles are in proper operating condition. Shall we proceed to eliminate these Harlequins so we can leave this desolate place and return to Israel?" We started our motorcycles and commenced to hunt our prey. Present, Tom, C-130 landed at DI. A second group drives up surrounding the first group, and I can tell just from the way they act that this group is certainly not composed of weekend warriors. The commander of the second group asks, "Who's in charge here?" Banty Rooster quickly answers, "I am." I whisper to Brian, "That was a wrong answer. Now this should be fun." The commander states, "And who the hell are you?" Banty Rooster threatens, "The one who's going to kick your butt." At that, the second team reacts and trains their weapons on the first group. Now I decide this has gone too far. I make a hand signal, check to see that James and the C-130 crew are in place, and yell, "Everyone stand down," before I order my men to open fire. Now you two wannabe bosses, get your butts over here while you still have butts to move. I'm still not sure they aren't going to keep being jerks, so I continue watching. Then I smile as the new leader backs down and wisely suggests, "I think we'd better go discuss things with him because he has the biggest weapons, and that means he's in charge." They walk up to me and take up a sloppy slouch. I take one look at them and command, "Tin hut, you sorry sacks of shit." The new leader snaps to it while the bandy rooster tries, but fails miserably. It's all I can do to keep from laughing at him. Now to give these morons the dressing down they deserve. Present, Byron, C-130 landed at DI. Once again, I'm glad Tom's here. Oh, he's a repeater, but he's also good at what he does, and that's command. He really should have been an officer. He takes control of the situation, which isn't hard when you're backed up by a minigun, defuses the problems, and now I can hardly wait, because he's going to choose some butt. And for a change, the Chewy is not me or the team. He shouts, just who the hell do you two think you are? Both of you come flying in here, throwing your weight around like you're in charge. Who the hell died and made you two the bosses? The first leader started to reply, but that was a mistake. Tom cut him off. Haven't you ever heard of being facetious? If I want an opinion from either of you, I will give opinions you can use. Now I know who the first idiot is, but who the hell are you and why the hell are you here? He looks at the new leader, and the new leader asks, permission to speak? Tom smiles and says, now that's the way you're supposed to respond. Hell yes, tell me who you are and why you're here. He snaps, sir, we are here because Jennifer Donaldson's aide requested that we assist in keeping some of her friends safe as they are transported to and during their stay at the Swedish Medical Center. Now may I ask a question? Tom waves his hand. Yes, you may. The new leader asks, first, where is Jennifer Donaldson? Second, who are you? And third, who are these pretend soldiers? The first leader looks like he is going to explode at the last comment, but Tom handles it by yelling. That was more than one question. However, since I am in a generous mood, and since you are obviously militarily trained and not just a poser, he stares down the first leader, then continues, I will overlook your error and answer your 3 questions. Tom takes a breath and continues. First, Jennifer Donaldson was taken by force to a psychiatric hospital. We were in the process of organizing her rescue when you and your men interfered. Second, I am the one in charge while she is gone because one gesture from me and that minigun and other weapons fire. And third, this other group was sent here to protect us or detain us until another flight arrives with more of my team. Then Tom uses one of his most effective techniques, the long silent stare. I remember the last time he did it to me. It's uncomfortable as hell, and I watch as the second leader tolerates it, but doesn't like it while the first leader actually starts to squirm. Tom ignores the movement, then he smiles at them and says, okay, now that we've established who we all are and that I'm the one in charge, here are your assignments. He looks at the new leader and orders, you and your squad will stand by for 15 minutes, then you will accompany my 2 injured men and 1 more of my squad to the Swedish Medical Center where you will perform your task as assigned by Jennifer. He looks at the first leader and says, and you and your men have 5 minutes to be out of my sight. You failed miserably at your job by letting this other group approach us as they did. But don't worry, some of us will be here when Miss Sedenkina arrives. Now you are dismissed. They both start to leave and Tom corrects the second leader, I didn't dismiss you. He snaps back to attention as the first leader leaves, reminding me of a beaten dog. Once he's out of earshot, Tom says, sorry I was so hard on you, but I didn't want another gunfight, at least not here in Denver. Now after they leave, if you and your men will set up a perimeter until we are ready to transport our men to the hospital, I would personally appreciate it. The second leader says, yes, sir. It's amazing that Tom ignores his comment, and I wonder if he is becoming an officer. Tom turns, looks at James and declares, let's find out where Jennifer is. James motions to one of the other men, who takes his place as he heads inside. He then looks at Linus and reminds, you need to get your team ready. I look at Tom and ask, and my new assignment? He grins and tells me what it is. So help me God. I'm going to find some way to get even with him. Present, Linus, C-130 landed at DI. Tom takes care of a potentially deadly situation, then tells me to get moving. I grab Matt and Jim and head into the C-130 to gear up. This one's going to be tricky because we're going to need to subdue, but not injure unless they've done something to Jens. However, if they have hurt Jens, then I'm going to take pleasure in killing all of them, especially that backstabbing Megan bitch. Present, Maria, C-130 landed at DI. Well, the show is over. I was hoping I might get a chance to shoot someone. Perhaps I might even miss and graze Tom, the old fart. As Byron walks up to me, he looks uncomfortable as hell and asks, Maria, Tom would like to know if you've cleaned up the mess, made more coffee, and prepared the sandwiches. First, I feel the overwhelming urge to bite his head off. Then I realize he's just doing what Tom ordered. Besides, I might be able to use Byron against Tom. Instead of yelling, I smile and say, I'll get right on it and call you when the sandwiches are ready. I will make Tom's first, and you can take it to him while I make the rest. Then I head inside and swear I'm going to make Tom a sandwich he'll never forget. Present, Byron, C-130 landed at DI. Yet Tom ordered me to motivate Maria to do her job, which really meant I was to be another tool he uses to irritate Maria. I had figured out Tom was going to do things which would obviously irritate her in hopes she would take it out on Linus. But I was worried as I walked over to her that she might try to take it out on me, because I wasn't sure I could take her with just one good arm. I was shocked when she responded the way she did, and I walked back over to Tom and reported, "Maria said she'd get right on it. Make your sandwich first, and let me know when it's ready." But that was a hell of a nasty job to give me. Tom smiles at me and apologizes, "Sorry about that. But we do need to keep her worked up, and I knew she would take it better from you than from me." Present, Maria, C-130 landed at DI. Thank God someone had already swept up the coffee pot and made new coffee. Now I could concentrate on Tom's special sandwich. I smile as I finish, head to the door and shout, "Byron, Tom's sandwich is ready." He's talking to Tom, and Tom replies, "Would you please bring it here for me?" I smile, take it and a cup of coffee to him, hand him the plate, and wait. He looks at it, smiles at me, hands the plate back to me, and suggests, "You know, I'm not hungry right now. Why don't you eat it instead?" I start to complain, but Tom gives me a look and says, "No, I insist. You worked hard preparing this, so you should be the first one to eat." I can't let Tom know what I did, so I grudgingly take a bite hoping to spit it out before I have to swallow it. But Tom grins at me and asks, "So Maria, what is your analysis of Megan's actions?" Damn it, now I'm forced to swallow this bite. I choke it down and reply, "Present, Byron, C-130 landed at DI. I think Maria is going to learn a valuable lesson. You don't try to trick Tom." The only one that was ever successful was Linus, and that was because he is possibly even sneakier than Tom. It's blatantly obvious that she did something to Tom's sandwich, and it is sweet watching how he forces her to take a bite. Maria almost gags, but swallows the bite and answers his question. "Tom, I would say that she has an ulterior motive, but I'm not sure what that motive is. Now if you don't mind, I need to get inside and finish the other sandwiches." She takes off like her, but is on fire. Once she's inside, Tom grins, sips his coffee, and comments, "Now that was fun. I wonder what she did to the sandwich." Present, Linus, C-130 landed at DI. We gear up, get an approximate location from James. He's lost contact with the phone, grab some chow, and head out to rescue Jens. Present, Jens, at the psych hospital. Megan finally comes back, and she's all alone. I decide to spring into action and escape. I jump up, grab the bitch around the neck, and choke the hell out of her. I let her lifeless body fall to the floor, run out into the hallway, and frack, double frack, and triple frack. Megan shakes my shoulder, wakes me from my sweet dream, and says, "Jens, it's time for your group therapy session." For a second, I really think about choking her to death. Then I come to my senses and question, "Megan, what group therapy session?" She smiles at me and says, "Jens, don't tell me you forgot that a condition of your release was that you need to attend anger management classes? Well, I've arranged for you, while you're here, to attend some group sessions which will fulfill part of that agreement." I continue, "So this isn't about what you say happened to me on the flight." Megan smiles again, "Oh, don't worry about that. We will deal with that later." Frack. I did forget all about those damn anger management classes. Just thinking about them pisses me off, and I don't hide it well as Megan leads me down the hallway. She questions, "Jens, how are you feeling right now?" I want to tell her I feel like choking her to death, but control my anger and smile and lie. "Megan, I am so thankful you remembered those classes and have arranged for me to fulfill them here, because I did forget about them." She leads me into a room where 6 other women sit in chairs, double frack. "I hate group therapy," and announces, "This is Jennifer, and she's here to join your group. I'm Megan, and I will be your facilitator today. Jennifer, please take a seat." I wanted to spout, I was already born with a seat, and I sure as hell don't need another. But I know better, so I take an open chair and try to not let my body language show how pissed off I am. Megan sits down, looks around, and says, "Jennifer, why don't you introduce yourself to the group and tell us why you're here?" Triple frack. I want to say I'm here because even as bad as this is, it's still better than prison, barely. But I smile and say, "My name is Jennifer, and I'm here because I had an altercation with several police officers." One of the other women shouts, "You go, girl. I hate those damn pigs because they are all just playground bullies that grew up and then took a job where they're allowed to continue to bully people." Megan scolds, "Julia, that's not the correct attitude for this group." A different woman argues, "Why are you ragging on her? She's just telling the truth." I'm here for the same reason. I was stopped and the cop wanted me to screw his tool. When I refused, I was arrested for resisting arrest. Another woman yells, "Well, it's not as bad as the TSA. I'm here because one of the scumsuckers was feeling me up and all I did was complain about it." All the women are quite agitated and begin talking about their personal problems with the police and other agencies. Megan becomes upset and complains, "Everyone needs to stop talking and sit down, or I will have you go back to your rooms." I smile and think payback's a bitch, so I begin to chant, "Attica, Attica, Attica." The other women pick up the chant. Megan's lost control of the group, so she stands up, storms out, and I decide that sometimes group therapy can be fun. Julia asks, "Hey, aren't you the one that did those embarrassing commercials?" Thank God I don't have to answer that again, because the orderlies come in and we are all escorted back to our rooms. Present, Megan, at the psych hospital. I can't believe I lost control of the group. That hasn't happened since I was an intern. I storm away and question if it might have been a mistake to put Yinz in with other like-minded women. She's a natural-born leader, and somehow just her story and the way she told it incited rebellion. I lean back and realize why I lost control. Because my emotions are in turmoil. Yes, I lost focus and became distracted because of my one true goal, Liz's love. Yes, because of Yin's problems with Ben, I once again let my old feelings from childhood creep to the surface. I had realized eons ago Yinz would never feel romantically toward me when I tried to kiss her, and the little bitch punched me in the face and broke my nose. You know, this could be the perfect chance to get even for that punch. However, I need to make sure to do it in a way that won't upset Liz. I come up with the perfect idea. Present, Yinz, at the psych hospital. I'm back in my room again after a very enjoyable group therapy session. However, an image keeps haunting my mind. It's that skanky host Stacy bitch in just her panties. I remember it clearly because she has a hell of a body. I stand in front of the mirror, unzip my nasty orange jumpsuit, and analyze my body. I poke my belly and prod my rear and determine they wiggle too much. Damn it all, I'm getting a little soft. Well, I've been here before and I know what the hell to do, so I begin my prison exercise routine. When I do catch Ben, and I will catch Ben, I want his eyes to pop right out of his head when he sees my naked body, after we're married of course, and burn the images of the nasty skanky bitchy Stacy bitch right out of his mind. Besides, there's nothing else to do in this hellhole. I've worked up a great sweat as I spent the whole time daydreaming about Ben and what I'm going to do when I catch him. Then I decide it's time for some martial arts practice. I wad up my mattress and begin to kick and punch the hell out of it, but this time let my mental image switch to Megan, who just happens to walk in as I say, "Take that bitch." She scolds me. Yinz, that's not a creative way to take out your rage. I decide to lie and poke her inflated ego. "Megan, it's so good to see you. So how did the group therapy session make you feel?" "Because I feel so much better from it. It's good to know so many other women have the same problems with the police." She glares at me, and I realize she's changed again. Yes, she had slipped back from the moon-stuck kid that wanted to kiss me. The same one who I popped a good one in the nose. And she's back to whatever the heck bitch she was before. Megan patiently replies, "Yinz, I'm not the one here for treatment. But I think she needs it more than I do. We need to deal with your episodes. Now I'm here to administer your next dose of Ativan, because we don't want you to have another attack. Now roll up your sleeve." This doesn't seem quite right to me since she's giving me meds instead of them being injected by an orderly or nurse. But I decide I've caused enough trouble today, so I roll up my sleeve and ask, "So when do I get some exercise time?" Megan sniffs and says, "Yinz, it smells like you've already been exercising." I elaborate, "Come on, Megan, I really want some yard time." She gives me the injection, smiles, and says, "I'll see what I can do." Present, Liz corporate jet headed to DIA. I finally make contact with my network and find out that it was Yinz, her traveling entourage, and Tom's Sif's team that raised hell in DC and then escaped on AC-130. I laugh because I should have known. Bernie asks, "What's so funny?" I reply, "Bernie, you aren't going to believe this, but Yinz hooked up with." He interrupts me. "I thought she was waiting until she married Ben." I laugh and continue, "No, not that way. Let me rephrase this. Yinz has teamed up with Tom." I grin as his mouth falls open as he mutters, "Damn. Tom and the whole team?" I am enjoying this and add, "Yep, the whole team, and then some." He spouts, "Damn. Being around her before was like being in some sort of psychotic circus. I can't image how bad it is now. Do we really have to join her? Don't we have some sort of assignment in any Holiston that we need to cover?" Yeah, Bernie disliked all the drama from before, and he's going to hate it even more now, but I can't avoid rubbing salt in his wound. "Hey, Bernie, you forgot about the two girls." He smacks his forehead and exclaims, "I think I need another drink." Now that does sound like a good idea. I call the flight attendant over and order another gin and tonic. I look over and I can't believe what's going on with Mira. Since when did she rate? I ask my flight attendant, "Can I get a manicure?" She curtly informs me, "No, we only have one esthetician. Her time will be occupied with Ms. Sedankina until we arrive in Denver." Present, Mira corporate jet headed to DI. If my name was Alice, I would feel like I had traversed the looking mirror following a giant white hair. Instead, I am looking mirror Mira and giggle at the illustration of the ministrations being applied to my lower bipedal units. The absurdity of the situation velicates my psyche. However, not all is a wonderland, because I am suddenly reminded of the wagers I frequently would place with my deceased sister Ira. I will always hold those times precious in my heart. Alexei is correct. For closure, we must have a memorial service for Ira. I greatly desire to gaze on her countenance at least once more, because that would allow complete closure. The service will need to be exquisite. I still have interrogations regarding my benefactor. The benefactor must be one of many we aided, but which one? Whoever they are, I will have to thank them vociferously. Then I have an inspiration and call the flight attendant over to announce my request. She assures me she will relay my request to her superior, however, she will not inform me of his identity. Present Myra's mystery man. I am honored that my Tavarish has requested my help with the funeral service for her sister, and also my presence. I smile because this informs me that she has not yet discerned my identity. If she knew, then she would already know why I can only help her with the service, but not attend. I summon my aide and order him. Please make sure my Tavarish has whatever she requests concerning the memorial service for her sister. He leaves as I smile and wonder when she will realize who I am. Dear listeners, next part of the story will be released soon. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.